September 25th, the new Fox Tuesday kicks off with New Girl's new season. Then welcome Ben and Kate.
Stay away from my sister before you find out what 6 years of Krav Maga feels like. Well, like year and a half plus like 4 years on and off I was traveling.
Followed by another all-new New Girl.
What am I looking at here?
Pure, unadulterated friendship.
And the Mindy Project.
Can't believe you're tattling.
Tattling is when a little girl does it, okay? When a hot woman does it, it's called whistleblowing.
The new Fox Tuesday, premieres September 25th on Fox.
You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV Saturday Night Live After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's SNL After Show.
Ooh. All right. Bing is for doing, and we're doing another AFTERBUZZ After Show for Saturday Night Live. The September 23rd episode. Host, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Musical guest, Mumford and Sons. With me is Filup Molina.
Hello, hello.
Yes, and also Steven Seidel.
Howdy. What's up?
And yes, I'm your host, Matthew Kyle, and we're going to get right into it with some Saturday Night Live, kind of pre-Saturday Night Live, not our Saturday Night Live, some Thursday Night Live, if you will, because now
TNL.
Some TNL, exactly.
Thursday night weekend update. There's no irony in that name.
Yes.
TNWU. That's short and sweet, I guess, for the TRL age, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So it was a disaster, ratings-wise.
Ratings-wise, yes. So, of course, we're referring to the politically themed and politically driven kind of change over the half hour on Thursday nights on the NBC lineup.
Maybe. I feel like the promise is like, oh, it's going to be all political. It's going to be the Daily Show, but just these 30 minutes here. And then it kind of, it half is, but then I don't know if you guys caught, most of the jokes on Weekend Update were in entertainment news. It just made me feel like, oh, they're probably saving all the good stuff for Saturday.
Yeah.
But it ended up being a lot of boring stuff, except for that awesome Lindsay Lohan joke. I don't know if you guys caught that, where she hasn't had a hit in a while, and it's because she had a hit and run recently.
Yes. Right, exactly. One thing that I do like, I think that there's not as many prominent characters in the political race. Obviously, we have Obama, we have Mitt Romney, but, you know, there's no
as
Sarah
opposed
Palin.
to 4 years ago. Yes.
Yeah, when, you know, Sarah Palin, Tina Fey was a vehicle. Sarah who? Wait,
Sarah,
what?
Yeah.
Hey, is there a book out? But, yeah, so I feel like the characters weren't as prevalent as they used to be. So that
I think that's one reason to drag it down. Also, there's just not a lot of heat politically during the race. You know, there's not a lot of up and down in belief that this is going to be as competitive.
I pose a question. Is this election bad for comedy?
That's a great question, and you know what?
I don't think any election is ever bad for comedy. I feel like there's always comedy in everything, but it may, you know, not be the greatest.
I feel comedy may be bad for an election.
Yes.
And
well, 4 years ago it decided an election. 8 years ago it tried to decide an election. Here's the weird thing, though. So you have your typical comedian who we can't ignore it. They tend to lean left, right?
Sure,
usually.
of course.
So I feel like if you're watching the Daily Show, you're watching this Weekend Update. It's like, man, they don't want to zing, you know, the Democrats too hard because they don't want to be, you know, responsible if they lose.
I would agree that to kind of actually a limited extent. I mean, if we want to skip ahead a little bit just to address that in the Weekend Update bit when he goes at Brock,
that was amazing
for 3 minutes, you know, and was pretty, you know, pointed about it.
Why did it stand out so much? Because we haven't been hearing it. You know what I mean? Like everyone's like, kind of be careful, just let them ease into another term, and meanwhile, like hitting Mitt crazy hard.
Speaking of turning up the heat, we are turning up the heat as we speak. The Emmys are going on. As we, I'm sure some people maybe you're streaming at the same time you're watching this. Hopefully,
watching the red carpet's going. We know that.
Yeah, seeing what you're wearing. Bill Hader. Hopefully, he's wearing something nice.
Yes, because Bill Hader's up for an award.
Yeah, and I predicted last week that Kristen Wiig is going to win an award tonight, and this is the last chance here for the Emmy, at least with Saturday Night Live, and I think they're going to hand it to her. they're gonna give it to her.
You know what? I hope so.
Yes.
She's probably one of the most deserving people, and was the star in the last 5 years on the show.
We're missing her in this season, but you know what? Moving forward,
I think there's you know, I haven't missed them as much as I thought I would. I mean, I do miss them.
All right, well, hold your points there. We'll get to that because I have a lot to say about that.
All right.
But before we get into that, we just want to remind everybody to get on iTunes and definitely like, subscribe, do whatever you got to do on YouTube.
Give us some suggestions. We want to hear your voices as well.
Most definitely. We really appreciate anything you can do. Any suggestions, we take it to heart and cry about it later. So anything you can say.
You cry about it?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
No, everybody knows that I talk about it all the time.
Yeah. We saw some comments from last week's. We really appreciate that. We were we were taking them to heart. So thank you. We're gonna do our best to.
That's right. And you keep us around. So we really appreciate it, and keep on downloading the show and
for sure
enjoying it.
And other shows on AfterBuzz as well. So support the community.
Yeah, most definitely.
For sure.
And then obviously our host for this Saturday Night Live episode,
JGL.
That's right, the JGL, the Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah, definitely. He did a great job. Did you know that he's actually from Sherman Oaks? He grew up in California,
which is did not know that.
Just right. But he sounded like he had a New York accent the entire time. But maybe that was,
that's the Ryan Gosling thing too, because Ryan Gosling's from Canada and used to fake a New York accent and now can't get rid of it apparently.
Yeah.
So I think that's a young child actor's dream to be from New York or something apparently. But
great actor. I loved him in Dark Knight Rises.
He had a huge year. I mean, and not only that, he has the biggest movie of the fall by far, Looper, which coming out next week. It's going to be huge.
Yeah, Bruce Willis. Bringing it back, Bruce.
Yeah, Bruce, come on.
Can you guys, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, have you watched Looper commercials and seen how weird Joseph Gordon-Levitt looks, though? Because they tried to make him look like a younger Bruce Willis, so they kind of like adjusted his eyebrows and they changed his eye color, and he kind of looks like one of those robot prostitutes from AI. You know what I'm talking about? Like, it's just gorgeous, but it's like, that's not the JGL I remember from 10 Things I Hate About You.
Well, he's younger Bruce Willis. He's not really JGL, you know?
All right. Well, he loses himself.
It's not Premium Rush. Okay, it's Looper.
Which was not bad.
I wanted to see it, but nobody else did,
I haven't seen it yet, but I'm still waiting on that, bike messing. He got injured in the line of duty shooting that film, so
that's right. So
it's commitment to the art.
So that's him, a committed artist, right?
Yes.
Committed artist, and then
committed to the dance for Magic Mike, which to me came out of left field during the monologue. What was the Magic Mike?
Well, the only thing I could imagine was the first time he hosted last year, he did an opening dance bit where actually he ended up doing a backflip. It was much more Broadway and kind of, out there instead of actually just copying. First of all, I don't know how you can call it a parody because he just did a copy of the dance.
It's not a parody at all. What they did is they just wanted to show, hey, look how good he is at this, and it was just fun.
I didn't think he was that good, to tell you the truth.
When he was humping the ground, that was pretty good.
I'll tell you what.
Have you seen Magic Mike?
I have seen Magic Mike.
I was watching it with some ladies, and when they saw that dance, they were like, hey, what's up with Joseph Gordon-Levitt? They were a big fan of that.
They said, hey, let me get that.
Yeah, they're like, let me get that. What's your digits?
Speaking of, I like when Nassim Pedrad gets exploded by him, basically. He walks up to her and he just humps her, and she just goes from like excitement to terror and then just explodes off screen. I love it.
But it left a little bit for me on the table there. There's just, if you're, it's a parody show. This is your platform.
Yeah.
Don't just do a dance because you're good at dancing. And then I thought something else was going to happen, and then he was like,
done.
Music Kill Gas, Mumford and Sons, and I was like,
such a committed actor, and yet you're committing to a lap dance. Let's commit to something a little bit more.
They had one sight gag in that, which was when Bobby Moynihan had two vests because he's fat and he didn't want to see his shirt.
Yeah, Chris Farley was to me, I would have loved to just see him throw an homage to Chris Farley in the Chippendales dance, but
that would have been beautiful.
Yes.
But.
I'll right now I'm going to set up something I'm going to reference later. Jay Farrow, go back.
What are you token over here?
Hey, he's writing
foreshadowing.
He's writing a script setup and the payoff.
If you DVR'd it, go back and watch Jay Farrow and what he's doing with his chest throughout, especially at the end of the dance where he's kind of making the chest dance, and I'm going to use it as a symptom later to describe what I think is his biggest issue.
So stay tuned, listeners, and people watching, because you're going to see this payoff coming through full circle.
Let's not build it up too much. But all right.
Well, so overall impression, you enjoyed the Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
I think he did as good as he could have. I don't think it was the writing was there this week as much, and I think it was a hard act to follow. I think last week Seth MacFarlane, as the host, kind of just like a lot of the comedy was coming from Seth MacFarlane in the sketches where he was kind of the lead. On this one, JGL was very prominent and yet didn't have the funniest of roles. No, maybe not until the end of the episode.
Agree, disagree?
I feel like Seth MacFarlane did a great job last week. There were a few hits and misses. I also think that, you know, this was a funny week, but a lot of it was dependent upon the writing, and there were not as many fully developed characters. And so I feel like that was his onus. I don't know how much involvement he has in creating the sketches and, you know, saying what he, like, you look at someone like Justin Timberlake, who comes in and just kills it every single time because he comes in with these really elaborate characters. I feel like he should have stepped up a little bit and brought a little bit more of his A game. I think he brought his B game, if not B minus. But, you know, not bad.
Well, okay. So. I can get where you guys come from. I was left a little disappointed as well, a little underwhelmed. I think he has a lot of talent. He obviously shows that. He is not script heavy, or I should say card.
Oh, Cue Card, he doesn't like constantly
Cue Card, yeah. He's very good. He's off book, let's say. More so than I am when I'm stuttering here, but...
just look at your Cue Card over there.
Yeah, you just got it right there.
But let's, let's skip a little ahead, obviously, because next Tuesday, we got the big premiere,
of course,
of all the new shows on Fox, you know. And face it, you know, we all love comedy. You know, it's human nature, for God's sake. So, you know, the Fox premiere Tuesday is stacked with a bunch of good shows. First off, Zooey Deschanel is back on the new season of New Girl.
Looks good.
Yeah, and boom.
She looks good.
Yeah. And on that episode, she's laid off work and looking for work in the first episode. So
economy.
Just like that.
That's right. In this economy, man.
Tough times.
Commentary.
And then after that, from the producers of New Girl, it's the new series critics are calling one of the year's best new comedies, which is Ben and Kate.
Ben and Kate.
Which I'm really looking forward to. Then another new episode of New Girl. So they really got this loaded. And then they're finishing up with Mindy Kaling, who has a brand new show, The Mindy Project. And if you're looking for a great night of laughs, Fox Premiere Tuesday has got you covered.
I will be there Tuesday nights for the New Girl sandwich.
That's
Sign
right.
me up. Check.
September 25th.
Throw some Ben and Kate salami in between it. We're all set.
Little Kaylin dessert.
Yeah.
Little Kaylin dessert.
I like it. There it is.
That's 2 hours of comedy. They're really pushing the Tuesday.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's
Tuesday. Hey, Monday is, you know, case of the Mondays, and then you get into
Monday's
Tuesdays.
football for me and you.
Yeah. We
hey.
Oh, you like football too?
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So football for all of us on Monday, but Tuesday we can get back to the comedy for the rest of the week. But let's get into the sketches of this show and figured out why it worked and maybe didn't work.
Cold open.
Yeah, the cold open we had live with Kelly and Michael, because obviously Michael Strahan, the 15-year NFL vet from the New York Jets, is now a co-host.
Yeah, somehow.
Living the life. Michael Strahan. He's got 17 commercials with Subway, you name it, Allstate, whatever. He's doing the NFL, and now he's doing this as well.
I mean, he's charming.
Yes.
I'm confused when I see him in the morning.
Yeah.
I like how Regis just watching this like, what?
He's like, stunt casting.
Yes. And Nassim did a good job. It was okay, but I feel like they were a little light on the jokes on Kelly. They kind of they stay away from Kelly a little bit.
No, here's what where I'll disagree with you. I don't think they've actually had an angle on Kelly Ripa before, and this was the first time where I felt like at least they've decided, okay, we know what this character is. It's a female Ryan Seacrest. You know, she does a million different things. She has those like crazy abs. In the past, it's just kind of been like the sketch has been a container for
when Amy Poehler did it back in the day.
Yeah, it's just been like kind of just, you know, they'll have some fun guests and let's get past the Regis and Kelly bits. This time, we had like 2 or 3 minutes of just Kelly and Michael. And I felt like they were the sketch felt like the question was, why does a show like this exist? Which is just a new take on a show that they've done so many times before, to the point where it started to feel long when they moved into anything else because they had spent so much.
Going back to Kelly really quick, they did do a commercial parody with Kelly Ripa, and she had the cocaine in her hair gel, and I feel like that's another angle. She is, when you see her, she's bouncing off the wall, so that's something that where maybe they could have explored it a little bit more. But, you know, maybe we'll see more of that. You know, I'm sure Jay Farrow is in like every sketch now. So.
Yeah, which is the mind-blowing. I mean, we're going to go back to foreshadowing. I mean, Jay Farrow is a Jay Farrow sighting on this show as Waldo up until this episode, and he was in half of it.
Well, I have a prediction this season. I think it's going to be a Big J season until...
Well, if you want my prediction, he won't be on the show next year. That's my prediction.
Here's where I'll agree with you. It's a go big or go home.
Yeah.
They're setting him up. Everything that he's ever wanted is about to be on the table for him. It's his for the taking. He just needs to take some classes.
I think the reason he may need classes, but I think the reason you're seeing a lot of him is because that the character development, and there are no, just going back to the Kristen Wiig not being on the show, there are no really fully defined characters, and they're exploring. But until the season gets a little bit further and they develop the characters, they're going to go to their go-to impersonations and things, because they don't really have characters that people grow and know to love, and can, you know.
Which I'm excited by. I like when they're they're backed into a corner. We don't have a lot to work with. Let's see what we can come up with. Some of the best stuff comes up right then. Really quick, did you guys notice Nassim's contact lenses? Put in blue contact lenses.
In the Kelly Ripa bit?
Yeah.
I did not notice.
Totally
The
distracted
attention
me.
to detail by Filup is unprecedented.
I mean, they obviously had the whitened teeth. I noticed that.
Yeah,
Because they were glowing.
Yeah.
If your eyebrows or eyes are off, I'm going to notice. Like that.
Wow.
I'm on it.
That's amazing.
I don't know if you know what kind of glasses that Matt has, but next week we're going to touch base on that too. But
foreshadowing next week.
Foreshadowing next week.
We might as well just shoot this in the future if we're going to foreshadow every bit.
Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, basically, Jay here, I'm going to give a little side report card. Jay did a good job here. He hit Michael Strahan well, who knew that he had that in his pocket, and it was probably the most fun of the sketch was the Strahan bit. So don't get used to the positivity. But
I wish he would have had a bigger gap in his teeth, because I feel like they had a couple of jokes about that. But like, I mean, I
remember back in the mid-'90s a couple times. In the mid-'90s, they did a bit with Wilt Chamberlain, and Tracy Morgan would play Wilt Chamberlain, and he had like 9-foot-long fake legs, and they would just go like this.
Yeah.
So if you got it, exaggerate it, make it a little more funny. But I mean, his if we're going to go back to politics, I can compare him to the real-life Mitt Romney, Jay Farrell, because it's like if you were going to draw up a politician or a president and what they should look like from a model, completely fit the mold.
Yeah.
And there's just no angle behind it, and that's the problem. It's just you need something. You need an overarching something. I thought he got as close to anybody with Michael Strahan in this episode, but other than that.
Yeah, you need an angle, but it's up to them, being a comedian and an artist and the writing. I mean, that's their team.
Well, right, but I don't know if he's a comedian at this point. I know he's an impressionist.
He is an impressionist.
And that's just the small gap, because a lot of the comedians who aren't as good as impressionists, Will Ferrell would be a prime example of that.
Of course.
Sure.
Works. It's the angle, because that's what you need.
Did you guys read the Bill Hader interview about his impressions on the show? It was maybe 2 weeks ago, and his thing was, I'm sure you guys have talked about it before, it's not about how good it is, just about having an interesting angle. And the one I found interesting was Dave Matthews. He's like, my Dave Matthews impression makes no sense. The man does not speak like that. He sings like that sometimes. Like it's like kind of weird
scatting.
Yeah. And then he just said, what if he talked like that? It's not true, but it's funny, so that's why it works.
I mean, he made a decision and he committed to it. So you got to commit.
That's what you got to do. You
can't be undecided about whatever it is. You got to commit.
That's right. Especially like the great bit. I guess we'll foreshadow the undecided voter, which was the first the undecided voter PSA, if you will.
That was really funny.
I really enjoyed that.
That was very smart in the way that they came about it. Yeah.
Well, it's just a very clever statement. They say that the undecided will decide any close election, but no one ever steps back and says, why are people ever undecided so close to the election? Like, do we really want those people that haven't done any research whatsoever, are unfamiliar with the candidates, their stances? Those are the people that are going to decide the election.
I like the question: can women still vote, or can women vote, or like who is running? And then there was an Asian guy in there, and I was trying to figure out if he was like a floating cast member or something.
Maybe a writer. Sometimes they throw
usually
them
it's
in.
writers, but did you notice that it's unfortunate for him because of the way it was just lined up? He had such a prominent role that everyone went, "Wait, who's that guy?"
Right,
and no one laughed at any of his lines. And it was just like, an Asian on SNL? What? And there was a second one later, not the same one, but same thing happened.
Yeah, and they talked about when you burp, fart, and sneeze at the same time, you may or may not die. I would like to know if that's really true.
Oh,
I don't know. Didn't Mikey eat all the cereal and die?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Pop Rocks and soda, I think.
Pop Rocks and soda?
That's what happened.
Everybody's going down. I was putting it together. There were 6 live sketches. In an hour and a half of SNL. 6 live sketches.
That's a lot of set moving, and those union workers are.
And there's 2 of those sketches were around a minute.
Yeah. Oh. It's breaking it down. I mean,
if you break it down to that.
Numbers
that tells you, because usually, especially last season and then going into this season, the strongest material is the pre-recorded stuff.
Right.
I have a question.
Usually.
The SNL digital shorts that obviously Andy Samberg kind of led the charge.
Which are now deceased.
Yes. Do you feel as if they should bring more digital shorts?
I feel like they are. They're just not labeling it.
Okay.
They did. Obviously, the next bit we go into was Trey Secchi's.
Oh,
which was the son of Dos Equis, the most interesting man in the world.
Yeah, a little bit different from a digital short. Digital shorts were just kind of kooky and crazy.
No, but I'm saying in the way that they're just pushing pre-recorded material.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny.
I really missed the boat for me.
Yeah.
I hate to think that the thing they were making fun of is funnier than what they did. And that makes me want to punch the TV.
The second one worked. And
the second one was better.
Yeah, should have been the first one.
They didn't need this. They didn't need the break in between the two. Like,
Some
to
of the
come back to it was kind of unnecessary.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't have liked a 7-minute version of it though, too, which they easily would do on that show. Yeah. But the second one worked, and I'll tell you why. It's the relationship was there with emotions. Not to go back too much, but
are we talking about the end with the dad and him arguing?
When the dad comes back.
Yeah. See, I lost it. It lost it for me.
What?
It went on too long.
I mean,
and it was wandering. And then they didn't cut camera angles. It was just that wide shot.
That was strange.
And then I was like, this is all bizarre.
I don't love that they kept it in the commercial because it did create a strange editing feeling where you didn't know, it didn't feel like you couldn't chop the funny, if that makes sense. Like, they had to just let it play out as was. And, editing in a video sketch is the biggest reason why it gets to be the funniest.
Right. And one of the things that was funny for me were the human elements that we can all relate to. Giving a fake name at Starbucks. Have you ever done that? Give it a fake name.
I've never done that, but in the second bit, that's one of the lead jokes that they had. The jokes in that one were very strong, including that one. The first bit had a lot of weak jokes.
It was just out there a little bit, but the more that you can get towards something that you can relate to, I think it was definitely more funny.
I know. I still I don't know how you can watch the Dos Equis parody and not want to see the Dos Equis guy show up.
No, I agree with that, but I think the whole angle's wrong. If I was going to do it, I think a way better way of going around it is
to bring him on as a cameo. Or?
Oh, it's the Dos Equis, and it's like at the end of every commercial, and it's his son that he's like, whipping around all the time. You know, who is a loser? You're dealing with that the whole time.
Sure. That's a fun angle. I think you hold on to at least the idea, like a father and son relationship with emotional content. Interesting to watch. It was just emotionless. The cold open had the same problem where the joke is these people don't have emotions, and when people don't react and nothing's affecting them, then it's just not as interesting to watch.
Yeah.
Right, because, well, and especially in the cold open, it's mostly just a stand-up monologue that they're doing to camera, and it just happens to be two people in the setting they make it, but they're just doing jokes to camera.
What about the next sketch, the Sam Flint one, where he's drawing pictures and characterizations? I mean, there's not really a give and take on that one either. So. Yeah,
that's another reason why things suffer. Yeah. Again, that's a really short script there.
Yeah.
And it took them 20 seconds to get there. Yeah. I was like, let's go.
I don't know why that lead in. I don't know if you could hear a buzz in the audience of like, what's this gonna be about?
Right.
Yeah.
It better be good.
Yeah.
Right. And they got to that point where everybody's like, okay, what's this about? This better get good.
Yeah.
And then he whips out the drawing, and then you at least gasp and go, oh, okay, now I know where we're going.
Yeah.
Let's see where we go. The turns were okay. It was very simple.
What was that ending? The little Armenia thing.
That was my favorite part because Cancun chicken, everybody knows about Cancun chicken, the fast food.
Does everyone know?
I mean,
I don't think everybody knows. I don't even know, and I live in Los Angeles.
Well, you should know about it.
I see it. I didn't even know how to say it before you said it. I thought it was Cancun.
Cancun,
you fool.
Yeah. It's fast food, Armenian fast food, whatever. So, yeah, it's kind of.
I guess there is a niche world where
and they smoke a lot of hookahs too, apparently Armenian.
And they're really poor detectives, but good caricatures.
Yeah.
Like, so, I don't really get the whole thing. Something's maybe above my head, but.
And then they came back to the most interesting son in the world after that sketch.
Right, and finished with that second piece.
Really quick, somewhere in there was a commercial break. And, well, one interesting thing is it had a bunch of amazing improvisers that are all going to be on SNL one day. But the commercial after that was Taken 2. Did you guys catch that commercial?
No, I skipped right through it on my DVR.
Go back and watch it. Have you seen Taken?
Taken?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
great
Taken?
I liked it.
You like Taken?
I like Taken. Really?
What?
The little girl was just horrible. She was trying to act like
Maggie,
she was,
whatever.
She was trying to act like she was like a little girl, and she's like 22, like, yeah, Dad.
Yeah, she like ran with her arms out, and it's hilarious.
Daddy. Yeah, I mean, the premise was
well, we'll go back and check that out.
Well, anyway, I think Liam Neeson needs to come back and host again.
Hey, maybe in the predictions we can chalk that up. I'd like to see him. Yeah.
You know what? Let's foreshadow that.
Yeah, let's foreshadow that.
I foreshadowed the word foreshadowing coming back.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I know that the best thing that ever happened this whole entire night was the next sketch, which was Hypnotist.
That was the best one
that
ever.
was the best one by far.
I don't know if they can see it. It's actually on.
Oh yeah, we're actually playing it. This is great. So
yeah.
Taron Killam, you gotta watch Taron Killam right here with just the silent mouthing.
Boom!
Yeah.
Oh, and that was the end button, which was a beautiful button to have it come back around when you.
That was brilliant. Have you ever? I have to ask. Have you ever been hypnotized?
I have. Yes.
And did it work?
It did not. I also got.
I haven't been hypnotized in kind of a joke sense where they try to control you. I've been hypnotized in kind of like the non-smoking way.
Yeah, so have I.
Does it work?
No, it didn't work for me.
Well,
I haven't had a cigarette since. There you go.
You didn't smoke before, though, either.
Not really, no.
Yeah, exactly. I knew a hypnotist personally, not to show off a little bit. I
got connections. But that was really funny the way that he wasn't hypnotized, and then that button, like you said, that was brilliant to add that little, because in the end you're like, oh, and she runs off and comes back.
You notice there were 2 shirtless men humping someone in this episode.
Yes, my mom actually commented on that, and I was talking to her about Saturday Night Live because we like to watch it. That's our bond. And she's like, what's with the people in the underwear? And there was a lot of like lowbrow humor.
Your mom sounds like a delight.
Yeah, my mom's my best friend in the world. What up, Mom? But she said that she actually mentioned that. She's like, how many times do I have to see people running around in underwear? Like it gets to the point where you're like, okay, chill out.
And I get that. And that bit didn't need it. Yeah. I mean, it kind of went in there and it worked. It was fine. It was probably the most lackluster moment of a really stellar sketch.
Yeah.
And it was really well done and well performed.
This sketch is probably the best example. You guys already touched on a little bit, but being able to end your sketch.
Yes.
They found a solid twist and done.
Yeah.
But most of the time they don't even bother ever ending a sketch.
Yeah,
and that's something,
Armenia.
Exactly. Or it just
and coming from an improv background, just having a clear, you're traveling the clear journey, and then, like you said, ending that. And it seems like they're deviating a little bit of that, and it's hindering it. So hopefully the new cast members from Chicago, can spice it up a little bit.
Who did what the 95 to 96, Will Ferrell, Sherry O'Terry crew and came in, and Chris Kattan, a lot of people from Groundlings came in at that time. Now you got people from Second City, coming back in that time. It's a new wave. But Taron Killam was kind of a breakout star halfway through the season last year, and kind of was coming up, and he disappeared in the first episode. So I was like, I wonder what his new use is. And it was nice to see that he really had one moment in this show, but it was by far the best moment.
Oh yeah, he's gonna. He's gonna be the main guy.
Big things coming. Big things coming.
So up next, I think we have a sponsored message from GOB Tampon.
Yep,
that's right.
That's
right.
Insert directly into my butt.
Yeah,
exactly, and make it look like the Elephant Man's body. I don't
like the cast of the Elephant Man's head.
Looked like a vacuum bag with things growing out of it.
That was a good take, especially after watching the Thursday episode, and then this. It was SNL version of a political commentary. That's them doing what they should be doing, and I was just like, yes, you're taking something that needs to be talked about. You're doing it in an SNL way where you cut to something. I thought it was funny. It wasn't brilliant, but it was just accurate and a depiction of kind of what women are probably feeling as a woman.
I think they need to have at least 1 to 2 commercials per show, and those commercial parodies are these, putting slants that people, like I said before, can connect to and are fun, and really, and they've been losing a little bit of that. So if they bring some of that back, do you know what GOP, the Grand Old Party? And someone was like, "What does GOB mean?" I'm like, "It's the GOP meets OB." It was kind of like. She had blonde hair, but it's cool.
There you go.
No.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed it. I think Vanessa Bayer, who's kind of hosting that commercial, if you will, being the spokesperson, she does really good straight woman stuff.
Did you notice she was really prominent in this episode? Just looking back, I didn't make that. I didn't notice that before, but I just wrote her name down so many times. Of like, oh, Vanessa is in this sketch, and this sketch.
Yeah, and Nassim, she had
Vanessa,
probably a couple, and then there was a little slight Kate McKinnon site, which was, when we wound up in Weekend Update, we had 3 special guests on the Weekend Update. One that I love is the Best Friends characters. This is
great.
Assad's Best Friends characters.
Yes. Yeah, that was really funny.
They just go around dictators, and they just kind of hang out with dictators.
Their passive-aggressive whispers.
Whisper,
at just like friend functions, a bar mitzvah or something. I just love that they are mapping every awkward friendship you've ever had over dictatorships.
And I think Fred Armisen probably, when it's all said and done, will probably be one of the strongest people to just do straight characters on Weekend Update as guest host. He has done so many well.
And where is he during the show, though? Is he taking it back? They putting him on the back burner and trying to, bring some of their talents to fruition? But it's like we very rarely see him anymore nowadays.
He's a busy guy. I genuinely wonder if he's not in there as often.
Yeah, he's probably doing some other things with Portlandia and writing his own stuff. So
maybe.
And I think, though, you mentioned the female characters. I think they do need to find someone to break through, whether it's Vanessa.
It's going to be Kate McKinnon. I think Kate McKinnon, her impersonation of Anne Romney was great. But there needs to be someone, with Kristen gone, I'm going to say it again, there needs to be someone who could step up with all the other guy presence.
You know what I'm really hoping for? We haven't seen it yet, but 80.
Adi Bryant.
Yeah,
the new girl.
Hilarious. She's
really been nowhere to be found.
She's not been on the show yet. Tim also, one of the funniest guys I've ever seen. If you've ever seen his improv show, Cook County Social Club, it's one of the funniest improv shows you'll ever see. The guy can make anything funny, but also they're just like, I don't know if it's nerves or they just also haven't given him Jay, had to wait 2 years before he got anything, so we'll see. But I'm hoping.
Well, there's definitely space for them to launch now.
Absolutely.
It's not like a packed show where it's like you're a bottom feeder and you got to scratch up. This is it's like, somebody.
This is it.
Somebody come up with something brilliant.
Despite
bring it soon.
The super long intro credit sequence that they changed, I don't know if you guys noticed that. It feels like a small cast, so I think it's
in a couple years back they did shrink the cast for financial purposes at NBC. NBC has not been doing well as a network. They've been cut down the Jay Leno show and fired a bunch of people and stuff like that. So,
but just weekend update in general. I felt like the jokes actually were not there really. They did a Fred Durst joke, and then a second later,
I remember Fred Durst joke.
About tattoos.
The very next joke was about Monica Lewinsky and basically a 1998 called kind of joke, and it's like you guys just made fun of Fred Durst one joke earlier,
right? Which is 2001.
Hey, SNL 1998 called. They want their cast members back. No,
we want them back. No, but I also in general the show's been playing catch up for everything over the summer, so I'm hoping this is the last episode where it's like we see a lot of the conventions and references to 47%. I feel like there's a lot of things that you guys didn't get to touch on
and now we're getting back up to live speed.
New Jersey license, you're not allowed to smile. What's that all about? That's kind of crazy. Did you see that?
Because it distorts your appearance. It's a security thing.
Yeah. Hey.
What's going on? Yeah.
When you go through TSA, no smiling. You have to smile when they want to get. And then I guess you're allowed to go through TSA with no clothes on.
That was a great joke though. And then of course Jay Farrell back again.
Yeah,
because he owns this episode with Stephen A. Smith for our ESPN fans.
Yeah, he looked very much like him. I pulled up a clip of Stephen A. Smith and the wardrobe and the costuming. They did a great job.
Oh, he had it down to the Stephen A. Smith when he shakes like that after he talks.
Yeah, and hitting the high notes and whatnot.
Again, a beautiful impressionist.
Yes.
It's not funny.
Good time to bring that.
It's not funny.
To bring back what I said up earlier.
Okay.
Right? So you're watching his face muscles here. He's doing a lot of work. I would argue that it's because he is afraid of just existing in a character and not getting laughs for a second. If you watch his old YouTube videos, go back and watch them now. I don't know if you watched them before he got cast. He can't hold an impression for more than about 5 to 10 seconds, and then he slips out of it and he starts laughing. It's the acting that he doesn't. He's just not able to do.
And he wavers a little bit. You can kind of hear a little bit of Obama coming into Stephen A. Smith. And it slides in and out. Yeah, I agree with you.
So he's constantly in and out. But now when you go back and you watch those muscles flexing in the monologue during the Magic Mike thing, what I was trying to set up, if you catch it here, he cannot hold still from nerves. You can see the other cast members. It's Taryn and Bobby. They both know in order to get a joke to get the laugh, you got to punctuate it. You got to put a period at the end.
Sure.
So they do a big thing and then they hold their faces and then they get laughs, and then a moment later they kind of make some jokes about they're shy or tired. Watch him during it. The same time they're frozen, he's making his pec stance. He's mugging his face a lot. He's moving around. It's just he's still nervous up there. So
he moves a lot. Even when he did Obama, you could see his hands were shaking and whatnot. And I don't. Maybe it is nerves, or maybe it's his lack of comfortability.
He can't hold on to a character.
I definitely
could
noticed that.
And when you get a big laugh, a lot of eases for people on stage, and if you're not getting that big laugh, you're gonna tighten up.
But you got to edit yourself so you get the laugh. He has to stop for a moment and let the.
But it's one of those circular logic things. It's like you have to do that, but then you also have to have the edge
to know what you're doing is funny. And I don't know at this point that he exactly believes in that, because that Stephen A. Smith character, it's fantastic. It's spot on. You could put them together at the table, and then it'd be funny.
Yeah.
But just as him doing it with the angle he has right now, it's not funny.
Or the writing needs to be better. You know, maybe there needs to be better material.
His job is to deliver what he's given. Seth Meyers, watch him on a bad joke, hold, and then there's a big laughter. Or he just holds and he just kind of like leans in, and then they just laugh.
Up on the screen right there, what are you doing? Is that the what are you doing? That
fantastic.
Which was great. You know, this is the 4-minute rant on Obama here.
Yeah, and it was, like you said, great, because traditionally they're left-wing. And you saw a lot of Mitt Romney heavy material last week. At least this week, they kind of balanced both sides of the table.
It's just one of those things. I don't know. You know, it is very liberal comedy usually in general. But it's just, doesn't it seem like throughout history, Republicans are just funnier?
Well, they're fun. Yeah,
you know, it's just, and it's just uptight people are just funnier.
Elephants are very funny.
You know,
just want to see it. From the old political cartoonists of the BC times.
You know,
Anne Romney was uptight, and she
Kate McKinnon,
Beyonce. She kept like Beyonce. That was really
which
funny.
was great. She had an angle. It's not the funniest thing in the world. But when I watch her, I'm just like, she's gonna find something and she's gonna hit it.
Like you were saying about Jay Farrell. Like at least she's committed to it, and she's fully fleshing out the character. If it's funny, if it's not funny, she's committing to it. And you know, then she did the Beyonce dance. Apparently, they cut that. If you're watching it on Hulu, it's not on Hulu for some reason. Yeah, they cut that out.
Copyrighted material, maybe, because she's singing the song.
That's exactly why.
Did you catch your special guest there, Rick Perry? Rick Perry popped in. I think that is a call to, we wish this was the guy that was running, because it was so clear what to play there. It was George W. Bush Part 2, you know, and then they didn't get that guy. They got the, you know, well-mannered, quiet guy. At least now they have an angle on Mitt Romney, and it's pretty much, it's very similar to their angle on Biden. Guy's just gaffe-prone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt, the Bollywood musical, like the kid.
Funny. He just looks around, sees his kids.
That was funny. Some funny stuff there.
Yeah, it's, I think...
Paris Hilton, actually, I have inside sources that she didn't say that gay men are disgusting in a malicious
when they taped her in the cab.
Yeah,
right.
she was with a gay dude, apparently, and she was just remarking, so she didn't mean that maliciously.
She put out an apology.
You have that from an inside source?
Yeah, I know that. I got connects.
Perez Hilton?
Yeah.
.com.
Right.
Someone inside Paris Hilton.
Yeah, well...
some inside, really.
Well, we only had one reoccurring sketch that we've seen before, and it was kind of reoccurring from yesteryear with all brand new faces, more or less.
The guys who...
4 stories, 1 song is what I like to call it, because, you know, obviously they, you know, pick up the chorus to the song to kind of punch the end of their long, winding jokes.
This has been my favorite sketch in the past. It didn't work for me tonight.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, too much like the sex and the dick and farts and stuff like that.
You know, I like to think I'm more sophisticated, but I feel like this is the sketch where you can pack it in. Just leave it out of all the other sketches and then just go for it on this one.
If you're going to go for it, then go for it.
But they don't
half-ass it. Yeah, don't half-ass it.
They started going for it, and I was like, wow, you're leading with that one? Usually that one's like the 3rd one, where they went with the vibrator joke right off the top.
Right up his butt,
Right. The next 3 were like not even
they have to throw Sandusky in there again. They have to keep throwing Sandusky in there for us Penn Staters. Jeez, come on, guys.
Didn't work.
Let's take it easy on that.
In the one of the funniest SNL lines I've ever heard is from that sketch a couple years back, and it's just, you know, he's going into a story and he talks about how, you know, he gets stuck at a highway rest stop. He's like, and so I'm at this highway rest stop and I'm on my knees and I'm blowing this complete stranger, and this song comes on and I start laughing so hard that the guy's pee comes out my nose. And I'm just like, that image alone is so disgusting, but I'm so amazed it's on television right now.
Right, a little more South Park than it is SNL. But I have to say, you know, for seeing the other ones, it's not my favorite thing. I think it's been solid in the past. I can see why they put it on air. This one, I think they should really be embarrassed. This was abysmal by all accounts. And then having the Mumford and Sons angle in there, I always said Mumford, was stupid. And then that was another waste of 15 seconds. And then to have them parade off the stage was another waste of 20 seconds.
And they didn't end it like we talked earlier too. There was no clear-cut ending.
The only part I'll disagree with you on that is I get so giddy when they break the format and when they break the fourth wall that, like, because to me I'm like, okay, if you can't find a good ending, at least find an interesting ending, you know, and a fun transition out, whatever. Just going out to the audience, acknowledging that they're doing a show and that this song is fun and getting people to clap along. I always applaud like bravery for just you know, trying to find an interesting way out. So I'm glad they did it. It just was on a sketch that wasn't working.
Or taking liberties like last week, Bill Hader's throwing the water, or, you know, Jimmy Fallon and Horatio Sands actually having fun and laughing and kind of, you know, being, you know, people being able to connect to that. I agree with you with that, for sure.
Yeah, in the past they've done some Mr. Show style edits too that were kind of cool.
I almost just wanted to yell at TV and be like, good, leave. Get off camera, because what you just did there for 4 minutes was awful by all accounts.
I feel a lot more.
Well, if you thought that was bad.
Yeah. The Finer Things sketch, which almost knew what it was. Jay Farrow, once again, Kenan Thompson.
They were trying to get clever. The scardigan, the scarf cardigan.
Of course, basically, I think what they were really trying to play on, even though they danced around it sometimes for no reason, is that these hip-hop guys who are trying to be street and urban are really into high fashion and kind of this, like, homophobic yet homosexuality bridge in a weird way.
Legitimate commentary, because if you look at Kanye or whatever, these guys are famous for like caring so much about their clothes.
Totally. Well, and this started back with Notorious B.I.G. and Tupac, who would wear Versace, and that was, you know,
Rockaware. They're notorious for creating their own clothing lines, for sure.
Yes.
Right, but I feel like I'm a pretty astute viewer, and I didn't understand what the game of this sketch was until a little too late, and I was like, oh, now I guess I get it.
Because I felt like that was their commentary, and then they just kept dancing around it. Pinpoint it, keep it simple. Everything that worked on this show, or was at least close to working, was very simple and very sweet, and it had a point to it. This was like they didn't really know how they wanted to hit it, and then by the time that they kind of got where it was kind of a funny part where they were commenting on the purse, it was way too little too late. And then all the characters are the same. There's no dynamic. Kenan Thompson can't help but play Kenan Thompson.
Kenan Thompson is always Kenan Thompson.
Yeah, I could literally. I'm not. I could literally flip on Good Burger in the middle of SNL and not know the difference, because this guy hasn't had any range in 15 years, yet he continues to get work. So more power to you, Kenan.
I think he's had a better season than he's had in the past, but you know what? Stop putting him in the talk show format. Stop doing that. It never works.
He does. Yeah, you're right. Steve Harvey was, but that was more about the joke of what he was wearing. But you're right. Kiss, keep it simple, stupid, and that was just way too complex.
And they for some reason they just couldn't exactly hammer it down, which it seemed pretty apparent by the time they got to the center of the sketch. So
JGL had a funny voice. That's all I'll give that sketch. His voice is kind of funny.
What about the Evelyn sketch? To me, that seemed like a conglomeration of like the Will Ferrell, Anna Gasteyer playing, and then the family where they kiss and tongue each other.
I thought it was going to be that. I thought
it kind of looked like a conglomeration of the two, and then they flipped it out, and then Kate McKinnon, they were putting her.
I would say this was not a sketch.
Yeah,
that was a WTF. It was that question mark when it got over, because you're like, I didn't know when this sketch started or when it ended, or when we were in a middle, or when it became 2 sketches. And actually, it seemed like 3. It seemed like, oh, we're gonna have a clever date or something, right? That she wanted to go on, and then it was like, oh, we're just gonna have a fun song. And then it's like, oh, we're going to have her hit on the guy now. No, we're going back to the song. No, she's going to hit on the guy.
How does this make it past the rehearsal? Like when they do the other sketches?
It must have killed in rehearsal. What it is JGL was
JGL. I like that.
We're pioneering that.
Well, I got his Team Beat poster above my bed.
There you go.
Nice.
But no, he was primed, ready to go. He was going to be hilarious. He's going to put on a fake ponytail. I love that. Like swooning every time he's like, oh, receiving. Receivables or whatever. And then he's set to be so funny, and then is taken out of the sketch to just do this song, which has very few jokes in it, has no breaks in it, and we never get to hear from the straight man until the very end. So
did he want to be dressed in drag, do you think, or do you think that was SNL's choice? That's an interesting.
You know what? Obviously, he's going to agree with it, and you know whether he protests or not. I think maybe he did, but it's hard to tell. He's such a good actor, and he really will commit to anything. But his commitment to playing that girl, he had a nice little character.
It was funny in the first 15 seconds.
When he walked out, and you're like, oh, okay, where's this going? I'm kind of interested. You're going to lean forward and kind of be interested in where this is going. It kind of reminded me a little bit, if you guys can recall back to last season, when Fred Armisen played the Queen of England.
Oh,
and then they did like a Clash song in the middle of the sketch, which was not even trying to be funny. It was almost trying to be like a good performance of him doing it as the Queen. And it was like the same thing where I'm like, I was like, Fred, are these just like vanity pieces for your new new CD or something? Like,
Well, I mean, it's variety. So I do. I do like when they play with the form. I'm not a huge fan of when they go into just a song that isn't meant to be funny. This song was meant to be funny, but instead it kind of sounded a little like Depeche Mode-y or something.
In its own way. But then I was like, I thought they were going to have like a dance thing or something.
I read an article in the New York Times that it was actually talking about this sketch and thought that maybe this could be a predecessor for them to continue doing it later on in the season. My advice: you probably want to kill the baby now.
I would end this now.
I don't know, but there's an interesting article in the New York Times about this specific sketch.
And I think at least they closed with a short sketch. I think it came up a little bit.
Powers Realty.
Cut it off at the end.
Yeah.
Notice.
Yes.
Okay, I have an idea.
Ran out of time.
No, I don't think it was that. I thought that at first. I was like, you know what? They ran out of time, but then they had a little bit longer than they've gone before in the goodbyes.
Yeah.
Usually they take from the goodbyes, and it hit it on a joke ending and on a line. It cut.
Faded.
So I think what it was is I think he wrote the word dick on the wall. It says like and like it was and then he went to go write the next thing, and that's the kind of thing that maybe got past censors in New York. And then out here, because you're allowed to say it as long as you're not referring to the anatomical.
Right. Let's Easter egg that. Let's go back and
go ahead and do some research, some reconnaissance.
But yeah, who knows for sure.
Recon.
But yeah, that was again
more penis jokes, more lowbrow. I mean,
kind of.
I think
stuff that you can watch with your mom and really enjoy on the couch together.
Yeah, they need to have like a lowbrow beer that we can drink while we're doing it too. Maybe
that'd be a good idea.
Something like that.
And of course, this is the Powers Realty sketch where you know people were writing stuff, and it was Tim Robinson and Pedrad doing it. And I thought strong characters, pretty fun bit, not great. I mean, they could have cut it maybe a little shorter.
I haven't seen Tim Robinson do his improv like you're suggesting on YouTube, but maybe he is nervous. But to me, it just seems like he's a little shaky.
I mean, he's not there yet. Though you saw
he seemed real tight in that.
Yeah,
I will agree with you.
I thought he was great in the
Wooden Spoons last week. That's Tim Robinson.
Yeah, that was funny. I give that props, and that was short and sweet and to the point,
it was so
and
short,
it landed. Versus this, I didn't see as much confidence as I would have liked to see. But
one of my favorite things for this show and comedians in general to do, though, is take something that's in the background of all of our lives and comment on it. So at the least, I enjoyed the idea behind the sketch, where it's like, man, you ever think about if you are those people that put those billboards inside of the bus, or the ads on the bench, and then you walk by and you just see a big old like dong like by your mouth, how that makes you feel. It's a fun thing that we all could recognize. So I like the idea. I didn't love the execution.
I see the Accidentes guy in LA everywhere. You know the guy?
Yeah, on the back of the buses.
Yeah.
We'll have to see if we can see one of those.
Accidentes.
Yes.
Yeah, sponsorship.
Yeah.
Of course, the musical guest, Mumford and Sons.
A little folky, rocky.
You guys fans at all?
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
I don't have the CD. When I hear it on the radio, the Pop 20 or whatever, the Pop 40, Ryan Seacrest.
A little bluegrass sticking in there, huh?
A little banjo.
Top 20 there?
I actually turned the volume up to about 65 and, jammed out to a little bit. It wasn't the greatest thing, but, it was, I had a beverage, so it was made a little bit more.
Your mother and you seem to have the best time.
Yeah, I wasn't with my mom, but, she's on the East Coast. But
she was on the Skype, right?
Yeah. No, next time we'll FaceTime on the iPhones.
Well, we got an extra seat here. I mean, if she,
bring her in when she comes in the town.
My sister will be visiting in a couple weeks. Maybe we'll bring her in and see if she reminds you of her. So.
That's nice. But in general, Mumford and Sons, I mean, I think they're a fun sound to hear on SNL. I don't think anyone is making fun of them right now, so I won't.
I did remark, though, I remember younger watching Pearl Jam on SNL, and then shortly thereafter, they kind of blew up. And I know Mumford and Sons is pretty popular, but it may not be as big, but I feel like SNL has the ability to kind of push talent like that, and I feel like this could be a good platform for them.
Yeah, maybe push them into a lot of, because again, their genre is not a very big genre, and they've taken it farther than really anybody that I can remember in recent history has.
Yeah.
So your prediction is that Mumford & Sons will become a bigger name.
Yes.
Hey!
Yes.
There you go.
There we go. Let's get right into some predictions, shall we?
Yes.
Ooh.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV.
It's like the War of the Worlds.
Yes.
That's right.
Check that out.
I guess I can lead off with the prediction that will continue foreshadowing for the rest of this season.
Yes.
Go ahead.
There'll be a lot of foreshadowing.
But I think my big prediction, bold prediction, will be Kate McKinnon will be the next star of SNL.
Yes.
My other prediction, two episodes into this season, so we got 20 more episodes to go.
Yes.
This will be a very rough season,
of course,
for Saturday Night Live.
God, it started off so well, though.
Yeah. I think I agree with you. I think if they don't really bring in the talent, they, like we said earlier last week, you can vote for hosts and people that you would like to see, for example.
Totally, that'd be great.
I think that we do need to have someone that has more of a clear voice or something. It just seems like it's very run-of-the-mill. We need some decisions to be made. And Kristen Wiig, congratulations on your Emmy. You're probably receiving it right now. And if you're not, next week I'm going to have to do some sort of penalty, maybe.
Let's do 50 push-ups, right?
50 push-ups.
We're doing push-ups for everything. Yeah, Filup. So get on the push-up game.
Yeah, so
I mean, I'm already doing them.
Practice at home.
I like that you're certain that Kristen Wiig is listening to this right now.
Yeah, she's listening, and you know what? If you have anything to say, hit up my agent. So thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Quick prediction. I think we're going to see some debate sketches coming up, obviously, and I think Jay Farrell's Obama's going to let us down in them. I think but I really mean I think Mitt Romney's awesome Jason Sudeikis impression that he's been doing. No, but the other way around. I think he is going to do well, though. I think it's going to work.
Cool. I think you're right
predict Bill Clinton will be back either in real form or in impersonation. Yeah, Daryl Hammond. They're going to be awesome. Back, definitely. So
we can see how
I hope you're right on that. Well, where can we catch up with you?
Check me out, StevenSeidel.net. You can hit me up on Twitter at StevenSeidel, and check out McMayhem on my damn channel. It's my prank show, and also RenegadeReporting.com.
A prank show? Well, now I know it's coming.
Yeah.
Filup, where can we catch up with you?
So yeah, I'm Filup Molina. You can hit me up on Twitter at FIMO, F-I-M-O, and just tell me if you agree with my comments or if I'm an idiot. And you can see me performing around IO West usually.
Nice.
Awesome.
I love
awesome. In the LA area.
Yeah.
Well, I'm Matthew Kyle. You can always see what I'm up to at www.matthewkyle.com. Not rocking the Twitter right now.
No.
Do you have a prank show?
Yeah.
I don't have a prank show. Prank show, well, somebody fakes my Twitter account.
Yeah, well,
and says actually good stuff.
One more prediction. By the end of this season, I will prank both of you guys in some capacity.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Well, stay tuned for that as I punch him in his eyes as the camera goes up.
On that
All right, we'll catch you guys next week.
Take care.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.